about your role and your work there.
Yeah, just to make a point, as we now get to that point, what is important to note is that we always say, when you're a communist, you don't proclaim, you don't climb on a mountain and say, I'm a communist. You simply work with the community, and the community will ask, who's this man? And they say, that one is a communist. And if without understanding what communism is, people will say, whatever communism means, I want to identify with these people because what they do, they help us. Yes, it is part of our ideological orientation that we have established in the Zimbabwe community in South Africa, specifically because migration is a global phenomenon. You cannot do away with the migration, and also understanding the laws that the majority of the people that move around in search of greener pastures are in the main people of low skill who would not, or semi-professionals who would not qualify for the permits that are offered by governments. If you study the Immigration Act in South Africa, it is clear in terms of how one should acquire, whether it's a work permit or a business permit, and the majority of the people do not qualify. So this is why in 2010, we had to negotiate for the rollout of special permits which did not require any qualification. This is why special permits are not part of the Immigration Act, because it was a special arrangement. But before that, in 2002, we had negotiated for the rollout of asylum documents to the people of Zimbabwe, political victims. And when that happened, we realized that those that have been in South Africa for long and those that were economic migrants took advantage of the asylum documents because they used that as a permit to find employment, because it allowed one to work, to start, to do business. So in 2010, we then negotiated for the rollout of those special permits. 295,000 people applied in 2010. 245,000 permits were issued. They were renewed in 2014, renewed in 2017. They are set to expire in December 31st, 2021. So the special permits only accommodated those that were there who had applied in 2010. But you would also agree that beyond 2010, more people have come to South Africa who are not documented. And the South African government, under the leadership of former Minister Malusi Gigaba as head of the Department of Home Affairs, agreed with us that the immigration law in South Africa has been Eurocentric up to this point. It has not been Pan-Africanist in outlook. It favored the people of New Zealand who had skills, but it did not favor people in SADC and in the rest of the continent. So the government of South Africa began to review its white paper on international migration as adopted in 1999. Came up, we participated in that because part of the challenge in our community and in Zimbabwe was that, one, you had people of low skill who could not get a permit. They will end up paying for fake permits. Two, you have people who are in the informal sector, because as we said earlier on, that 90% of the workforce is in the informal sector. People coming from everywhere in Zimbabwe coming to do business, whether to sell those crafts or to stock. They get given 3 days at the port of entry. When they get to Western Cape or Eastern Cape, their days have expired. When they go back to the port of entry, they are banned maybe for 5 years or so. Previously, they would be asked to pay for 3,000 rands. So that was problematic. So we then put a proposal to the South African government, which was then adopted. It then recognized that there are people of low skill, and the white paper on international migration, which is available in the website of the Home Affairs Department, is about an 83-page document, and it speaks to each rolling out SADC work visas for people of low skill in the domestic sector, your construction industry. It also speaks of rolling out SADC business visas to people that are, whether it's a hair salon, small businesses, selling of fruits and so forth, and then recognizes that people in Zimbabwe who are crossing, if you belong to Zichia in Bulawayo, you can then register and be given what they call SADA cross-border visa. But of course, when the white paper on international migration was gazetted in 2017, there have been huge developments. We are now dealing with in Gauteng with what we call the Makura Bill, which seeks to exclude migrants from participating in business in Gauteng, particularly in townships. We have a National Minister of Small Business Enterprise who's sponsoring a bill in Cape Town in Parliament, which seeks to exclude the migrants in running certain businesses like your hair salon and the other small businesses. So we are engaged in this struggle to continue to negotiate so that our people get accommodated. We see what is happening in Durban by some groups calling themselves ex-MK members who are saying migrants must go back and so forth. So it is really a struggle.
Yeah. No, it seems you are doing a great job there. I'm just wondering about those people who left Zimbabwe, let's say early 80s, maybe to late 90s, who were running away from Kukraundu or things like that. And those who came after without any documentation, how do you help those ones as well?
Firstly, those that are not documented or were not documented, they assumed the other identities in South Africa. Were in 2017 approached the Zimbabwean government. We had a meeting in Harare with then Minister to say the office of the Registrar General should come and document such people, though in our negotiations, we could not say victims of Kukraondi because you know the attitude. So it was safer for us to say Zimbabweans from Matebele who are not documented. So there was at least some acknowledgement from the Zimbabwean government. We did again post the military coup meeting in Harare with the deputy president in Kembo Mohati to say how do we carry forward the proposal that was on the table to say let's document such people. Mohati, Vice President Mohati had also agreed that exercise should be carried out at the time they were working on the modalities, but saying there was no budget, but trying to they will raise money. We're expecting that it was going to happen in 2020, and then were hit by coronavirus, which then put everything on hold. We hope to pursue this in 2021, so those people who are not documented get documented. But we also know that most of them